Welcome back to another episode of Full Circle with me, Onyx. And I kind of want to continue our discussion on reclaiming your psychic abilities, empowering yourself, and not following the script provided for you. So, the reason why people need to feel in control, as I recently heard, is that it's a security issue. When they feel in control, they feel secure. So, why do we buy into stories? How come everyone is agreeing to the idea of angels, agreeing to the idea of what religions are putting out? And yeah, it gives people a sense of security, gives them hope for the next day. We've been panhandling this myth, this story, this narrative collectively about gods, religion, angels, fairy folk, aliens here to help us. It's all good, ascended masters. And if you're new to the scene of New Age, new to the scene of spirituality, it's a lot to take in. Then you start maybe reading some old books and you find out the source of these. Maybe they were making it up the whole time. So maybe we're caught in this misinformation, this storytelling. So I think stories are very, very misleading. There are ways to explain phenomenon, experiences that are happening subjectively to people. So we try to make sense of it and we create words, we give them definitions, we create stories and mythologies. And over time, it kind of has a snowball effect to where they just become accepted truths. So I don't really know what it is. It must be an angel, it must be a demon. But when we look through history, we find these sources, these labels. So genius and demon, Damien, muse, angel, messenger are kind of one and the same thing. And it's explaining things happening within the human mind, within the human experience of. So if you are a highly creative person, uh, you might have been. Of course, we're not going to credit you with that ability. It must be from a muse. It must be from your genius. It must be from a helping spirit. If you have vivid dreams, it must be a channeled message from a guide. And that can be actually very disempowering. You're discrediting yourself, you're discrediting the mind, and you're filling in blanks. Well, so I think very nefarious people seeking attention said, "Oh, I have an angel." Everyone wanted their angel. What? You have one? I want one too. Oh, well, just calculate your birthday and put it in, and this is your angel. This is the angel of your zodiac sign. So there's a lot of popularity games going on, a lot of misinformation, and a whole bunch of stories filling in gaps of information we don't know. So good example is what people thought were demonic possessions was schizophrenia, was multiple personality disorders, were viruses, were sicknesses, where was the endocrine system shutting down, was the process of death, was manic depression, mania, not enough copper in your water, too much copper in your water, lead poisoning. And so we're having a subjective experience and we don't know a lot of what's going on. We fill in the blanks. So, as we became curious about this mysterious demon plaguing this town, we found out the well water was poisoned. As we explored, became curious, started observing with awareness, we found out they're not possessed. They're actually gifted. They're actually highly advanced. They're actually genius level. They're savants. They're polymaths. They're creative. They're so we're finding out this whole spiritual thing is grounded in something very practical. If you're like me, the question I pose is, how come I can't have all these experiences without giving credit to Jesus, without giving credit to God, without giving credit to aliens? Can I be empowered? Can you acknowledge my own mind, my own energy field? Can I be acknowledged for once? Quit silencing me. Quit discounting my work I put into it, my ability to focus, my connection to the universe. And not really in an egotistical way, but maybe life is a journey. Maybe we really grow ourselves. Um, I don't want a mommy daddy figure guiding me from beyond, helping me turn left at the appropriate time on the highway, doing course corrections and cleaning up after me. That doesn't make me feel safe. That's disempowerment. Don't give me the milk and cookies. Don't spiritually whitewash my human experience. We got it all mapped out. you know, when you die, you go to the light, you find out Earth is a school. Like, so we have this all planned out, past lives, soulmate connections. And when we really start digging into it scientifically, we find out everyone born basically moves through the energy field called humanity, the collective consciousness. There, all experiences are stored. Some people call it the quantum field. Could it possibly be that you identify with it so much that you're saturated it in so much you experience it as my past life, my memories, you know? So when we just accept other people's truth, their narrative, their perspective, their point of view, they're witnessing a real experience at the level of understanding that they're at. Why would that become greater than my experience? Why would that information be what I would trust in? So this whole idea of trusting powers outside of you, establishments outside of you, this mind is somehow better than mine. This other culture is somehow better than my culture. We are outsourcing ourselves, outsourcing our own spiritual power. We are whoring ourselves out. We're giving ourselves away. We're fracturing ourselves into other dimensions. We're scattering, which is, brings me all the way back to soul retrieval and shamanism. Put yourselves back together. Notice in this whole spiritual thing, where did the fun go? Where's the play? Where's the exploration? This grand purpose. Okay, so we all have a purpose. You're already fulfilling it. Are you alive? You're fulfilling your purpose. Okay? Can you do a better job at fulfilling this purpose? The answer is yes. You fulfill your purpose better when you start to unload your baggage and become more your authentic self. You start clarifying your purpose more and more uh, when you give yourself permission to feel, to think, to express your authentic self, your real experience, where you're coming from. So, looking at challenges as opportunities, looking at arguments as discussions where you're going to walk away with more growth, where you look at pain and suffering as teachers, where you look at death, change, and transformation as upgrades and teachers. So the idea is looking at it as a teacher, but not like a literal teacher. You know, death is a literal figure coming into my life to teach me, to take something away. You know, I'm being obstructed by some entity. No, you're obstructing yourself. It's all you. So the basic universal truth is it's all you. So you could advance yourself by start reclaiming that lost energy, and it's called taking ownership. I'm living a myth. The myth is subjective. There's also an objective, logical, reasonable explanation. I trust my physical eyes. I also trust my inner vision, the subjective experience. I use whole brain thinking, creativity, logic, and reason, put it all together to have a holistic experience. And who's having this experience? You are. You don't need to sell your experience to others. You don't need to capitalize on it. Capitalizing on your success, capitalizing on your grief and failures, capitalizing on victimhood, capitalizing on your spiritual gifts. You don't have to, but you can be more honest with yourself and say, yeah, I want to totally do that. I want to, be a teacher of psychic arts, or I want to be a medium. I want to capitalize on my spiritual connections. Okay, know that you're doing that. Be upfront about it. So you don't need to get everyone else to believe your belief system, your matrix, your construct, your way of navigating through life. You don't need to not validate others, those that are awake, those that are asleep, those that are non-playable characters. Everyone is serving a purpose. Everyone is following, the grand cosmic script of being human. Everyone's evolving at their own rate. Everyone's doing what they need. It's time to trust the moment. Okay. Do you need to hear it from an angel to finally trust the moment? Or can you just trust the moment? Does it have to be this video? Or could it come from another video? We're all telling you the same thing. Be here now. Be in the present moment. Be authentic. Give yourself permission for this. So you might need to untwist some beliefs, okay? You learn that all your negatives can be used in a powerful way to liberate yourself. That would be turning pain into power. That would be alchemizing. You thought, so I'm really dyslexic, hardcore. I guess there's 5 different types, and probably all 5. No wonder why I see life a little different. No wonder why I socialize different. No wonder why I organize information different. Could that possibly help the Matrix? Could it help humanity expand, grow, evolve, survive to the next level in eon? Yes. So what the system first was telling me that it was a disability. The truth is, it's a saving grace. It's a very helpful thing. It's a skill. It's a specialty, not a disability. So your gender orientation could now be seen, instead of a negative, could be seen as a positive. So flipping the script, flipping your perspective, flipping narratives, that really puts you in a very co-creative moment. That kind of is liberating and empowering at the same time and creative at the same time. Okay, so since this is kind of more about spirituality and psychic abilities and all things, spiritual, I guess, everyone had a natural way to move through life when you were little. Maybe you wanted to imagine and play dump trucks in the sand. And you were using your expanded awareness. You were using your free mind to be creative and imagine building houses in the sandbox, in the dump truck. And then, you got in a war with the other guy. And then, this is you free. This is you able to receive. This is you able to process. So, imagination, creativity, having pleasure in this moment where you were playing in the sandbox or swinging on the swings or kicking that soccer ball or making that dinner or listening to music or dancing and singing, you lost yourself. You got caught up in the moment. The being and the doing were one and the same. And you were having a moment. You were having an experience, and you were carving out the future in a way. You were dreaming it into existence. You might be a singer when you grow up because you were in a holodeck. You were imagining playing in that sandbox or in your room, what it would be like, what it would feel like. And you were following a rhythm, a current of energy. And it was all authentic and it gave you pleasure. You found your core vibration as a singer. You were channeling it. You were becoming it. The being and the doing, be, do, have. Now you have it. You're having an experience of a singer. You're having an experience of being I guess a construction worker or a machine operator or however you like to call it. The most important part is you found pleasure. Time disappeared. You weren't worried about how other people saw you. You weren't curating your expressions. You weren't pushing pause and editing it and then expressing. You were just free. So, same thing for unblocking your spiritual abilities, which is your abilities. They're not so special. A lot of people misunderstand spiritual for special. No. It's only spiritual and special if you're discounting it. Bring it back. You've always had it. Reclaim it. The flame never dies out. That spark of life never dies out. You're just working really hard to be someone you're not. You're just working really hard to fail at being you, thinking it's going to get you what you want. So there's the twist. Every time you discount yourself, every time you hold back, every time you don't speak your authentic truth at the expense of your authentic being to get something you think you want, like maintain peace, stay at a job you hate, stay in a relationship you hate, you're always doing it. So because you think you're going to get something good. Really, you're selling yourself out. So usually at the beginning of psychic training, we do like free flow. Say whatever without censoring it. Have mock readings without getting paid for it. No pressure to be accurate because you're exploring. Saying you're a beginner relieves you of the pressure of this expectation of having to be accurate, having to know it all, be specialized, be an expert. So, beginner's mind. Once again, we go back to playing in the sandbox, playing imagination, playing dolls. No different. Okay? So go to that place of freedom. Go to that place. You weren't censoring yourselves when you were playing dolls. You were caught up in putting on the Barbie clothes and the house and the car and whatever. And you were kind of creating a story for that character. You lost yourself and you were free. There was authentic play. There was something spontaneous, flow, rhythm. So we've kind of skipped that and went to energy, frequency, and vibration. But the translation of all that energy moving is it flows. And there's a rhythm. If there's no flow and rhythm, there's no sync. In sync, there's no alignment. If you're not, so pleasure has a flow, has a rhythm to it. Pain has a discordance, has something off, something out of tune, off key. So all these like spiritual words, mystical words are very practical. I'm either in alignment, core frequency resonating, vibrating, connecting, feeling. So you're going to feel positive feelings. So you have been suppressing not negative feelings so much as positive feelings. Your authentic self feels great about who they are. Your authentic self embraces the moment. They're like, your authentic self already feels fulfilled. It feels complete. It feels whole. Your authentic self isn't questioning anything, isn't worried about anything. It's, here I am. Your authentic self hasn't been brainwashed into self-doubt, throwing on the brakes of what it wants to do. That it just goes for it. It goes because it's in a state of knowing. Well, I know who I am, and I know what I want. And I know if I go after what I want, I'll get it, no matter what. It doesn't throw in a question. So this is where I think all the spiritual guides really mess everyone up. Let's play Q&A with our newfound psychic abilities. Let's do question and answer. Your authentic self has no questions. It is the answer. Through being, through doing, through having, be to have. So now you have to actually throw on the brakes, throw obstacles in the way on your superhighway of connection with source, of connection with self, of connection with all that is. You have to, it's like you're creating an obstacle course. And now it takes effort and strain. And now you can easily get confused by asking questions. This happens to me when I have a whole bunch of clients asking all their questions, coming from that lower frequency, the smaller bandwidth. I have to take breaks for myself. I'm like, I'm one with source. I'm one with myself. I'm one with life. I'm one with my body. I am all there is. I am what is. I am that I am. There is nothing to question. There is the deepest pleasure of experiencing myself. In that pleasure of being me, all information is provided. It comes on in. So during this morning's, autonomic writing that I was playing with, because all these different ideas bounced around, but it's all about clarity. The whole point of having expanded abilities to gather more information is to get more clear. Do we need to make it complicated? Do we need to take our ego on a ride with us? Do we need all this extra stuff? The embellishments, the grandiosity, the pageantry? Do we need all the props and symbols? Do we need all of that? You got to know. You don't start off not knowing. You start off knowing. You don't, so, New Agers and their narratives say you have a veil placed over you. Some religions do that too. You have forgetfulness. How about you have no memory? Memory itself is part of the illusion. Past, present, or forward, memory are objects. They're thought forms. Before thought and memory, you exist. I am that I am. You exist in a state and a place. There is a pure being present here and now, everywhere and nowhere. The center of all centers, the center in every center. You exist. You are existence. You find it. You wake up to this self-awareness, this self-knowledge. Then you can navigate the cube. Old reference, long time ago, when Aleister Crowley came to me after he taught me tarot. In the matter of 3 seconds, got a download of Aleister Crowley's deck. Became a master of the cube, understanding how tarot guides you through the matrix. Okay? And that was so speaking of that, a lot of your experience, a lot of your symbols, a lot of your experiences are custom tailored to you and aren't really relevant for others, but yet they work for you. So, positive affirmations can work. Think of your psychic development as removing all that is not you. A cleansing, you could say, a purification, leaving that which is. You are awareness. You are the witness. You are the divine one. You are the timeless one. And I can only say that really with experience. When I experienced myself as pure being, when I experienced myself as the infinite one, when I experienced myself, not bound to time and space, life and death, when I experienced the I am presence, then the revelation, then the understanding, then the knowledge is rolled out because you have a higher mind. You have a different perspective. Then it all makes sense. So usually while you're going on your journey, it doesn't make sense. after, in the fullness, after you've retrieved the treasure in the hero's journey and you understand it and you master it, then you bring it back to the collective, then you share and speak it, your knowledge, and you empty the cup, and the cycle goes again as we co-create humanity. Who created humans? Humans did. When did it all begin? We're always at the beginning and the end. It's all here now. You are the aliens that created humans. You are the time travelers that seeded the past. You created the future. You created the past. It's all here now. We're getting pretty metaphysical. Probably just going to stop it. I just want you to reclaim. So anytime you're tuning into chakras, you're just tuning back into your center, your authentic being, your authentic feelings, your authentic, all that is. 7 centers, 7 ways to dial in different ways to you. You are the channel. Let go of the story. It doesn't have to be so personal. You don't have to personalize it and own it so much. Give it names, give it labels, create a character on stage. That's fun. That's creative. And that's playful too. But have a practice where you just are. No labels, no stories. You and source, you as source, one. All in all in one for all. You know, oneness. You're connected to every star. You're connected to every portal. You're connected to every one. All things are you. Wow. And you can move yourself. So I can talk these, I call it elevated language of spirituality or of higher emotions or of creative ideas. And I literally dial into that energy just by speaking it. So I'm actually experiencing what I call bliss. It doesn't look like rainbows, does it? It's the way I experience it in this